destroy my world! I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow. Call me offensive even though Joe, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love. Still gonna die for what I love. Still gonna try, I won't give up. Still gonna fight until I've won.
Hey guys, and welcome to a new My Hero Academia Whatif. And this is what if Deku was a true alpha werewolf. Okay, first things first. This was going to be my original first ever What If, but I changed it to a Naruto What If because I saw that there's a lot of My Hero Academia What Ifs and I want to take the original. And then I just lost the idea. And secondly, a true alpha, so this is based off a Teen Wolf. If you haven't watched that, watch it, it's an animation show. Secondly, there's an Omega, the bottom of the pack. Those are the weakest werewolves and the ones who get bullied by the rest of the pack. A Beta. Those are the ones who are more powerful and are respected and will serve underneath the Alpha mainly. Then there's the Alpha, the one who can create other werewolves, the most powerful, and the one who has a special form. Then there's special alphas like Deucalion, who has a demon wolf form. But then there's a true alpha, which is the main character of Teen Wolf, and Deku right now. That's his quirk. And a true alpha is a werewolf who became an alpha without killing another alpha. Because for a beta or omega to become an alpha, they need to kill their alpha and take his power. But a true alpha is a werewolf who became an alpha of his own willpower and his own heart. And this rare case only happens one every few centuries. And he's insanely strong, more powerful than a normal alpha. Stronger than a demon wolf, and insanely stronger than any human. So yeah, let's get into this. Also, the like goal for this one's going to be 25 likes. So yeah, let's get into it. We start where Deku's, I'd say, 3 or 4 years old. He's in a nursery. And right now, he's watching Bakugo awaken his quirk. Bakugo is creating little small explosions in his hands. And he's like, wow, Kachan has such an amazing quirk. I hope my quirk's just like his. And then Deku feels dizzy. He feels his pulse going. His vision is getting strange. It's turning reddish but concentrated at the same time. He puts his hand up and says, "Teacher, I don't feel so good." He's getting really hot. The teacher comes over to feel his forehead and feels how hot he's getting. He looks at Deku's face and sees his eyes are glowing red. He's like, "Deku, your eyes." Bakugo looks over, a bit concerned, because at this moment, Deku still is his friend. And Bakugo isn't all stuck up yet, because before the teacher said, "That's such an amazing quirk, you're like destined to be a #1 hero, like a great hero." So Bakugo isn't too full of himself yet. And Bakugo's worried, he looks at Deku. And as the teacher goes to take Deku away, Deku growls. He goes, "Teacher!" And the teacher looks back at Deku and sees that Deku has fangs and claws. And his face is slowly changing. Everyone's a bit scared. And Deku lets out a huge howl. He stands up and says, "Teacher, I don't feel sick anymore." The teacher smiles a bit and says, "Deku, I guess you awakened your quirk." Deku smiles. He smiles and says, "Really? You think I work in my quirk?" The teacher says, "Yeah, it seems to be a powerful one. You and Bakugo are gonna be great heroes." Deku says, "Oh, what is my quirk?" The teacher says, "I don't know. We'll get your mother to take you to the hospital and get you tested." And Deku says, "Oh, really? Okay, thanks. I guess I should get my stuff." And Bakugo and Deku actually go to the hospital together to get their quirk tested. When Deku's mother comes in, she's a bit shocked at seeing Deku, and Deku says, "Oh, hey, Mum." And one thing I'm going to change from Teen Wolf, where werewolves can't control their transformations, is that Deku can control their transformation fully, because I'm going to use an excuse, he's a true alpha. Even under a full moon, he can control his transformation. But one thing I'm going to keep the same, the angrier they get, the more powerful they get. And Deku quickly turns it off and says, "Sorry, that's just my quirk." And Deku, I'm gonna go to Izuku. Izuku's mum's a bit shocked and says, Wow, Izuku, you awakened. Okay, let's get you to the hospital. Oh yeah, and Bakugo, your mother's gonna meet us there. You're coming with us." And Bakugo and Deku get into the car. I'm just gonna go back to Deku for God's sake. And once you're in the car, Bakugo and Deku are talking about their quirks. Bakugo says, "Look, Deku, I can create bigger ones and some smaller ones. I can control them. What can you do?" Deku says, "I don't know. I can smell that you have mint gum in your pocket." Bakugo goes into his pocket and says, "I don't have mint gum." "Wait, I do. So I guess you have super smell." And Deku listens and says, "And I can also hear our heartbeats. My mum's heart's beating fast. Are you scared, proud, or frustrated?" Deku's mum says, "Oh, I'm just a bit panicked. You went from being just a normal child, and now you have this amazing quirk. I'm very proud of Izuku." And Izuku smiles. And we're realising his emotions got a bit better of him, and his claws pop out, and it's like, "Oh, my claws." And Bakugo says, "So cool." Deku smiles and says, "Thanks, Kachan." And Bakugo says, "So you don't need to fully transform?" Deku pulls his claws back in and says, "I guess not." He looks at Bakugo and flares his eyes red and says, "I can also see a lot better." But Deku doesn't know his eyes are fully red yet, and Bakugo says, "Deku, your eyes!" And then Deku says, "What?" He looks in the mirror and he says, "Whoa." Anyway, they arrive at the hospital before Deku can test out more abilities. And when Deku gets pulled in, the doctor's looking at him and says, "So you must be Izuku Midoriya. And you must be Bakugo Katsuki." And Bakugo's mum runs up and says, "Bakugo, I heard you're working your quirk. What is it?" And Bakugo picks out his hands and makes mini explosion. Bakugo's mum smiles and says, "Oh, I'm so proud, sweetie," and hugs him. And he says, "Whatever," and pushes her away. Then she looks at Deku and says, "Oh, Izuku, what's your quirk?" And Deku says, "I don't want to know. It seems transformation." And Deku's eyes glow red. And Bakugo's mum thinks that's it, and she says, not trying to hurt Deku's feelings, "Wow, Deku, that's really cool. You can change your eye colour." Deku says, "That's not it." And he makes claws appear, and Bakugo's mum's a bit more impressed. Then he starts fully transforming, his face starts shifting. But you're just wondering, he doesn't go like full wolf. He gets a bit extra hair and his face molds and he gets fangs. "Daisy, shush!" And Bakugo's mum's a bit scared at first and she says, "Izuku, you still in there?" And Deku says, "Yep." Bakugo's mum's quite impressed and says, "You and Bakugo both awakened such amazing quirks. You two are going to become great heroes." And not even meaning to, Deku lets out a little howl and goes back to normal. The doctors appear and says, "Quite splendid quirks. Okay, Izuku, come with me," and Bakugo goes with another doctor. First thing they do is test Deku's strength. They give him a machine and he crushes it without even fully transforming yet. One of them grip things you see in the UA test, when I was out tested them. Like, wait, are you using your quirk? And Deku says, no. And then they say, okay, Deku, you're going to come for an x-ray quickly. And what they x-ray him, they say, wait, by these tests, and they take a blood test and says, by all these tests, you should be quirkless. I guess you just have a rare quirk that isn't showing up. But actually, no, Deku doesn't have a quirk. He's still quirkless. But he's a pure werewolf. His ancestors from hundreds of years ago were werewolves. But the gene was weakened suddenly for no explanation. But just as randomly as it was weakened, it suddenly reappeared in Deku. And believe it or not, Deku's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was the first ever werewolf, which is why he's a true alpha. And that little will he had to pass Card-Chan and become the #1 hero was enough to activate his power. And the doctor says, well, I guess it's just rare. Anyway, can you show me your quirk? Deku says yes, and he starts off by glowing his eyes. The doctor says, so what happens when your eyes glow? Deku says, my vision becomes reddish. And I can look around, and it's a lot better, a lot clearer. And things are giving off heat, and I can see the heat signatures. And if I focus on a certain thing, I can somewhat see through walls and see it. And the doctor says, close your eyes. And Deku says, wow, I can still see. The doctor says, impressive. And then he covers Deku's eyes. And then Deku says, it's a bit harder to see, but I still can. The doctor says, okay. That's the... and then he says, what other quirk do you have? What other features does your quirk have? Deku pulls out his claws. And the doctor says, wow, impressive. Okay... try and cut through this wood. Deku easily slashes through the wood. Then the doctor say, okay, and he points out a block of concrete. Deku's claws are insanely powerful due to him being a true alpha, and he easily slashes through this as well. Then they bring out metal. Deku's claws are still slashing through them, and his mum's quite impressed. And the doctor says, useful information. Then the doctor says, I'm being told aware your quirk has more of a transformation to it. Deku smiles, his face starts moulding. His muscles start pumping up, his fangs appear. His ears point out. And the doctor says, amazing. You resemble a wolf. And Deku says, I do. And the doctor looks at his ears and says, okay, I might test something. Focus on your hearing. And the doctor starts muttering. Deku says, I can hear you. You just said, can you hear me? And the doctor's impressed and says, I was barely even letting out any noise. Your hearing is improved as well. Then they go on to other test. Deku has to run 1,600 meters. And he does it in 2 seconds flat. Then he has to see how much he can lift. Remember, Deku's 4 years old at the moment, and he tries lifting up a car. He can't do it. And the doctor says, oh, it's okay, Izuku. Maybe your quirk hasn't fully activated yet. And Deku says, Bakugo could do this with his explosion. And ever since Deku's quirks awakened, his werewolf gene has awakened, his emotion, he's becoming angry quite a bit easier. And when he says this, his eyes flare. And he all of a sudden easily picks up the car. Everyone's shocked. And Deku picks it down and says, I guess you were right, Doctor. And after this, the Doctor makes the assumption how Deku's anger fuels his quirk. They keep him running through basic tests like Deku's reflexes. Deku can easily dodge a bullet. And blah blah blah. And after they leave the hospital and Bakugo was waiting, he runs up to him and says, Deku, how did you go? And Deku says, I'm good. Bakugo said, did they make you lift the car? Deku says, yeah. And Bakugo said, I could barely even keep up my explosion and it really hurt my bones. My arms, they were like vibrating it felt. And Bakugo says, I'm guessing you couldn't lift a car. And Deku says, no, I lifted it easy. Bakugo's mom looks at Deku's mum and says, and whispers, is that true? Deku looks up and says, I can hear you, and yes. And Deku's mum nods. And Bakugo's like, wow, Deku, you're so amazing. And Deku says, thanks, Scar-chan. And then they leave. I'm going to have a time skip of 4 years. Actually, I'm going to get the time skip to where they're in class. And they're about to get, given their job applications. The teacher says, I'm meant to give out your job applications and your job courses, like tests. But I all know you want to take the hero route anyway. And everyone starts flashing their quirk, except for Deku and Bakugo. And Bakugo yells at everyone, shut up! All you extras aren't getting in. The only one who's even got a chance of getting in is me and Deku. And everyone says, get in. What do you mean, get in? You haven't even said what school we're going in. Bakugo bites his tongue and thinks to himself, oops. And Deku laughs. Then the teacher reads out, oh, Bakugo, you applied to UA, and so did you, Deku. Bakugo got the second highest in the school, with Deku getting first. Unlike the original, Deku's respected, his quirk's insanely powerful, and he's only mastered it more as the years went on. Now he has a new form that he hasn't really showed off yet. But he will eventually. Anyway, Deku's walking home. Bakugo offers to come with him. But Deku declines and says, no thanks, Bakugo, I'm going to go train and study. Bakugo says, cool, I'll come to you around your house later then and we can both study. And Deku takes a path home. He's running quite speedily because he doesn't need to activate his werewolf transformation to be able to move fast. And this is when he senses the sludge feeling, as all his senses are heightened. He always has a sixth sense. And he jumps back and says, I know you're there, and his eyes flare red and he sees them. The sludge feeling pours out of Deku, and Deku barely dodges it, but it bounces off the walls and surrounds him. Deku can't breathe. And the sludge feeler's talking crap to him. He's like, sorry kid, I normally wouldn't went after you, but I didn't know he was in the city. And Deku's getting angry. His claws come out. He grows fur, his face molds, he has fangs, and he's letting out a growl. He starts clawing at the sludge feeler, slowly breaking out. And he remembers that All Might can create a sort of shockwave with his punches. And he charges up full power in his right fist. And he punches, blowing the sludge feeling off him just as All Might arrives. All Might's impressed with the strength he just saw. And he looks at Deku and sees his transformation, and he scares him a bit. Then he realises that what Deku must have a transformation quirk. Deku looks at the sludge feeling. He's angry. He hasn't even noticed All Might yet. And before All Might even lunges in, Deku's anger boosts his strength, his speed, everything. And he nearly breaks a sound barrier, and he jumps on the sludge feeling and starts beating him into the ground. Deku's almost lost control. He lets out a roar. And certain people hear this and their eyes flash yellow. And they say, that's an alpha. And all of them say this at the same time. And Deku destroys the sludge feeling and All Might collects it and says, thank you, young man, but you shouldn't use your quirk. And Deku says, it was in self-defense. He's still a bit angry and on edge. And All Might senses it and says, I understand that, but you could have hurt someone. Deku says, if I didn't do that, I would have died. And All Might says, understandable. And then Deku snaps out of reality, and All Might sees his eyes fade black. His eyes go from red to green. And he says, oh, All Might, can you please give me an autograph? And All Might signs the book. Then he says, I'm sorry, kid, but I must go. And Deku says, wait, please. Unlike the original, All Might doesn't even stop to say he needs to go, and he jumps off already. And Deku, in a fit of frustration, activates his quirk and jumps after him. He's shocked at how high he can jump. He's never really tested it. And he manages to grab onto All Might. And All Might looks and sees that Deku's there. But he's shocked. He's 100% sure Deku wasn't there. He even turned around to just make sure. And then he realises Deku jumped after him. And he's quite impressed with this young man's power. when he lands. He's like, kid, that was dangerous. You could have died. And then All Might realises his time's up and he coughs up blood and deflates. Deku screams, what are you? Where's All Might? You're an imposter. And Deku gets ready to fight, flaring up, getting more power. All Might says, kid, calm down. It's me. And he pulls up his t-shirt and says, I got a really bad injury a long time ago. And my respiration system was destroyed. So now I turn into this instead of being buff like the one you recognise. Deku says, oh. And Deku and All Might have a long talk. And then this is where Deku asks the question. Do you think someone with a quirk like mine that sort of turns them into a werewolf, a monster, could become a hero? And we're going to leave it there, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the like goal, 25 likes, share with your friends and family, hit 5k before middle of July. And yeah, other than that, peace out and hope you enjoy. Bye.